Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying your vinyl and your turntables and your audio equipment. I thought I would be brave here and put up a video showing a little bit about how I build a head shell with a cartridge. I'll go through the cartridge that I just bought. I'm not going to show the actual build, mainly because I can't do it one-handed. Those of you who watch this channel know that I make my videos from an iPhone, so sorry, I'm not gonna do a build on screen, and it's probably just as well, because that's when you start getting those you're doing it all wrong comments on your videos. But what I bought is my first Shure cartridge. Now, Shure has gone out of the Phono Cartridge business. I thought I'd pick one of these up mainly because the prices on them are going through the roof, and I got a great price on this one. This is the Shure 97 M-97 XE. There we have it there with the brush. There's a built-in brush in front of the stylus. It's an elliptical stylus. So we have our cartridge. We have some mounting hardware. These guys really did it nice. They include one of these little brushes to clean lint and dust. They gave us a tiny jeweler's screwdriver, a Phillips, which I'm going to show you guys in a moment. I'm not going to be using that because, oh yeah, here's the instruction sheet for it. Now, these instructions look great, and having read them through a couple of times, I was really impressed. Sometimes the instructions with these cartridges are terrible, but for most typical applications, the instructions they give you are the instructions you have. So those of you who want to do deeper dives, you can go online. I think there's PDFs for this cartridge. I'm pretty sure. I've seen them online. Next thing I have handy is a pair of tweezers, because we're probably going to need those for the installation. One of these Techniques overhang guides. Looks like that. If you've got a S-shaped tone arm like what's on the Audio-Technica AT120, or some of the older Pioneers, like I have the PL516, this will get you in the ballpark. Still use one of those alignment protractors, but you know, if you want to get it close the first time, this is the way to go. I like these Audio-Technica head shells for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're cheap. I had this in 2 days from Amazon for under 20 bucks. Number two, they're well built, and they even have one of those rubber gaskets in the back. Number three, the wiring system. Very nice. Already wired to the back of the head shell, color coded, ready to go. Those color codes are going to be compatible with the installation of the Shure, which is great. But for less than 20 bucks, you have it in 2 days. You have a durable head shell. Now, I like their mounting hardware a lot better. The screws are a lot smaller, as are the nuts. And I'll show you the secret sauce. And that's those tiny little white rubber washers. What Audio-Technica recommends is that you put them on the screws before you do the mount. And what that's going to do is basically work as grounding and prevent the head of that screw from touching the metal on this head shell. Oh, one more thing. Get yourself a set. I got these at Ace Hardware. These are sold everywhere. If you want to pay more money for them, you can get them at Lowe's or Home Depot. Personally, I think both of those stores are a jip. I got these at Ace. I want to say it was less than 20 bucks. But you've got flathead and Phillips. Basically, you've got jeweler screwdrivers with large handles. Needle nose pliers. Get yourself a set of needle noses. And that, my friends, I think is everything we need to build this head shell. So I'm going to build it offline. We'll come back and I'll tell you how I made out. Okay, first step is done. We've got our red, green, blue, and white wires from the head shell wired into the cartridge. That's where you need these needle nose pliers, because what I did was I slipped them on to each pin by hand, and then I slowly brought that wire with the lug into the terminal, pull it towards the front of the cartridge, and then you feel and hear a light click, and that's how you know you did it right. So that's what I did there. And in looking at it, I think I need to tighten that green wire just a little bit more. You can see there's a little bit of a space there, so we'll do that and then do the next step. A couple of words to the wise when you start building one of these things. Be patient. Be very patient. Also, be prepared to use curse words that you may not have used in your lifetime or in a long time, because I'll tell you, I used a few of those putting these in, but they're in, ready for the next step. I usually start as a starting point with them all the way back, because we can always move them up towards the front of the head shell if need be for alignment purposes. But it's in. And the other helpful word of advice, and I should have mentioned this early on, take your stylus out of the cartridge before you start your build. Put it somewhere safe, like I did right here. We've got our stylus guard on, which is built into the stylus tip on this particular cartridge. One other helpful hint, get yourself one of these TV trays that has a ridge, because when the nuts and the screws go flying and you start using curse words, they're just going to bounce around right on this table. And that's what happened to me. I lost control of them at a couple of points, but then they just rolled on this table and didn't roll off of the table. So get yourself one of those, even if it's at a thrift shop. This one could use a cleaning, but it really came in handy. So let's do our next step. Okay, what we have here is what's known as a overhang gauge. Basically what you're trying to do, see the shank and the stylus right there behind the brush. You're trying to line that up with a tiny notch. You see it on the end of the overhang. So that's going to get you in the ballpark. And you see we made our adjustments. We actually made them on this side because the screw is there. And basically what you're doing is you're sliding the cartridge back and forth, front and back, and a little bit sideways so that you get it matched up with that notch. I read in an audio blog one time that the word they use to describe building a head shell is fiddly. And I'm not kidding. They were spot on. This is a fiddly job. So, as I mentioned in the last clip, be prepared to use a lot of cuss words and maybe some new ones you haven't used before, but we're in the ballpark at least, and next we're going to check these instructions and see what they're telling us for tracking force. Alright, so we check our little table here, and for the maximum, with the stabilizer brushed down, they've got it set at 2 grams. Stabilizer up, 1.5 grams. Optimum, 1.25 gram. Effective at the stylus tip. With our dynamic stabilizer down and operating, 1.75 grams. So that's what we're going to calibrate it at, is 1.75 gram. Don't want anybody to have a massive stroke or a coronary, so we'll put you at ease. We checked our 2-point alignment on the protractor. We're pretty much spot on. We checked our weight with the gram scale, 1.75 grams. So save those trips to the ER, we should be in business. Our copyright police friends at YouTube are cracking down on copyright restrictions, so naturally I'm not going to play a second of this, but first spin we're going to play the great John Coltrane's A Love Supreme. What are my first thoughts on the Shure 97XE? Well, I am blown away. I am blown away. This is the most I've ever spent on a Phono cartridge. It was worth every cent. Every cent. What did I like about it? It's detailed. You can literally hear every instrument. The dynamic range, the difference between the highs and the lows is astounding. It is astounding. I tend to favor higher output cartridges, so this was right in my wheelhouse. Personally, I think the stabilizer brush up front here might be a little bit of a marketing gimmick. I don't know for sure if it really works. but it's there. And this thing is incredible. Tracks perfectly. This is going to end up as my daily driver. And you know, I love the Audio-Technica 95E. I love this cartridge even more. That is the Shure 97XE. I wish I could play it for you, but I cannot because I'm trying to avoid copyright strikes. So give me your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down. Tell me to jump off a cliff. I really don't care. But if you have the opportunity to spin one of these cartridges, give it a shot. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Take care for now.